Emotional clarity as the doorway to increased and enhanced psychic abilities, ESP, HSP, and beyond. Emotions, energy in motion, the superpower of the human experience, paints a wide array of tones of sensation and definition of good or bad, pleasurable or painful, wanted and unwanted. What if I told you that our emotions are the gateways as energy beings in form, which we are, to our superpowers, to our super abilities, to greater embracing, activation, expansion of all of the clairs, claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and beyond. There is a lot of research showing how trauma and individuals who experienced consistent trauma in early childhood have heightened cognitive faculties, extrasensory perception, and heightened or sensitive perceptions of receiving information triggered on, switched on. Now, why is that? As someone who grew up in a very volatile household myself, and I think this is true for so many people, of all generations, if you grew up in a household that was uncomfortable, you had to learn very quickly to read frequency, to know how to adapt and flex to the situation for self-preservation. The reason this topic is so important is that we must work with our emotions, no longer running from them, no longer defining or classifying in a dualistic fashion. Oh, that's a good one, that's a bad one, I don't want to feel that, I'm going to bury that, that isn't good of me, I do not accept that. We have to stop running from the information. The more courage that we can hold, and it takes courage to be angry, to witness or face our anger, or these deeper emotions of grief, even rage, betrayal, the very deep pockets wedged into the cores of our being, imprinting. When we are in self-denial of allowing ourselves to acknowledge or to feel, and instead carrying, we are simultaneously blocking ourselves, putting a psychic lock on our abilities to access heightened information and increased perception. This is why we talk of the heart, and so many talk about the heart being open is the only way to fully be present and also get an accurate experience, a true resonance experience with what is present, with yourself, with others, situations, circumstances, places, people, events, because the heart is the true mind, a quantum mind of perception through emotion, which is actually energy in form, energy in motion, weaving through our being, our physical body, and giving us an impression, giving us information. So a major message from Star Family at this time, the Christed Masters and the Sirians and the Lyrans, right now as we share this transmission, the constellation of Leo, the heart of Leo, the star Regulus, is in a beautiful alignment with us, with the sun. And so it's about that lion heart courage, that tenacity, that passion to go for it, to love and be that holy love warrior for ourselves, to allow ourselves to see. And this is a part of a great clarification process at this time, that there's great nurturing here, that it's actually abusive to the self to continue to carry on and carry around and even splash around the environment and onto others these themes of abusive emotions. We're not meant to carry these. We're meant to learn from them and move on. And they're great teachings. Pain is a great teacher. Suffering, humility, physical pain, physical illness, malady, all of these teach us through direct experience to have value in ourselves, in our happiness, in our peace. They teach us through contrast what feels aligned, what feels true for us, and what does not. So the invitation at this time is to allow emotions to rise. You know what is carried deeply seated. Allowing those seeds to come out in a very functional fashion, a creative fashion, through dance and movement, vocalization, expression, writing, speaking, using the throat chakra to move energy. We talked about years ago the primal scream and how important that is, how all of society is taught to be quiet and to be still, to be in your box. Don't be too loud. Don't move too erratically. So if you start to look at the body and the control mechanisms, how we were all stuffed into a box, it's time for the star to come out of the box. Everyone wants access to their heightened abilities, and we have to work for them. And the work is simply allowing an unraveling, no longer judging your process. So this is where the theme of judgment comes in. We externalize our judgment. We judge ourselves, we judge our emotions, we judge our memories, we judge our thoughts. I should have done better, so we judge our performance. And then we also judge others. And a lot of times what we're judging in the quote-unquote out there is indicative of what's actually being mirrored. It's inside, actually. It just looks like it's outside, because that's how light reflects and refracts. Refracts and reflects through form. Inside, outside, infinity loop, mirroring, hall of mirrors, conscious experience. So I was so excited to share this message of accessing. So many of us that have gone through traumatic childhoods where we had to be on and paying attention, our fields and our heightened senses of awareness were activated because it was a survival mode. And in many different control mechanisms, there's trauma-based systems to stimulate these psychic centers. And so now the opportunity is, well, let's look at the fact, the truth, that all of us have an enormous capacity. It's just a muscle that has to be exercised when we talk about heightened abilities of perception. So the entry is through the heart, and the gates, all kinds of gates, are through the emotions. Because when we are blocked and locked up and holding and crystallizing these energetics in place, if you imagine a corroded cable, rusted, crystallized into form, nothing can flow through that. So we are allowed to stop bottling, start flowing. And there are many resources on this channel to support that emotional clearing, emotional process. We have a whole chapter, Entering New Earth, Emotional Mastery for New Earth. And so we'll link that here. And also please, work with professionals, however you feel guided to work with professionals and with your peers. Get together, talk about things, talk about your experiences, let them out. Using the throat to even just talk about things releases the energy from the body. Then you make room for all of this high frequency crystalline energy to start to come through you and to be more of a conduit of the now, of 0 point energies, of divine truth, cosmic order, mysticism. So no longer echoing the past, but being present now to receive as a clear channel impressions, information, creative inspiration. No limits. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is transmission for mid-July. More to come. We're going to Mount Shasta, so we will have from the mountain more on the freedom codes as we approach the 14th of July. which is France's Independence Day, 14 de Juillet, Bastille Day. Wishing you all a continual amazing experience of unfolding and self-love, and allowing yourself to truly see yourself in the mirror through clear eyes, open heart, open mind. Sending you all so much love and support at this time.